In the sweltering summer of 1776, inside of the Pennsylvania State House in Philadelphia, the Second Continental Congress stood at the edge of history. Delegates from the 13 colonies, exhausted by more than a year of war and dashed hopes of reconciliation, sensed that the moment for a final break had arrived. On June 7th, Richard Henry Lee of Virginia rose and introduced a resolution that would change everything. Acting on instructions from the Virginia Convention and with John Adams seconding, Lee proposed, resolved, that these united colonies are and of right ought to be free and independent states, that they are absolved from the allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, that it is expedient forthwith to take the most effectual measures for forming foreign alliances, that a plan of confederation be prepared and transmitted to the respective colonies for their consideration and approbation. Now, this resolution carried three bold parts. The first being a declaration of independence, the second a call for foreign alliances, and third a plan for confederation. Debate flared up immediately. Many delegates wanted time to consult their colonies or were worried the step was too hasty, so Congress delayed the final vote, but they didn't wait on an explanation. On June 11th, they appointed a committee of 5 to draft a formal statement justifying independence. Thomas Jefferson of Virginia, John Adams of Massachusetts, Ben Franklin of Pennsylvania, Roger Sherman of Connecticut, and Robert R. Livingston of New York would make up this party of 5. Now, when it came time to decide who would actually write the draft, the committee turned to Jefferson. Adams strongly supported him, later recalling that he had pushed Jefferson forward because the Virginian was a far better writer than he was, and because Adams knew his own personality made him too obnoxious for many delegates. Jefferson accepted the task and produced the draft in just a few weeks, around the 28th of June. Adams and Franklin reviewed it and suggested a few changes before it went to full Congress. There was also quiet amusement. The real concern was about Franklin. See, everybody knew that this old printer loved a witty pun and clever joke, and more than one delegate half joked that they were afraid Franklin would slip something hilarious into the document and they might not catch it in time. In the end, Jefferson's measured, powerful prose carried the day. Debate on Lee's resolution resumed on July 1st. By July 2nd, 12 colonies voted yes. It was New York that abstained, at first awaiting word from home. And the colonies formally declared themselves free and independent states. 2 days later, on July 4th, Congress finished reviewing and editing the declaration, approved the final text, and sent it off to the printer. As they prepared to stand behind those words, the delegates closed the document with a solemn vow that still sends a chill down the spine. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm alliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. This was not empty rhetoric. Every single signer knew what they were risking. If the revolution failed, they would lose everything. Their families would be hunted, and they themselves would be hanged as traitors. And yet they pledged it all anyway. That whole chain of events, from Lee's ringing resolution on June 7th through the committee's careful work and those nervous laughs about Ben Franklin to the decisive votes on July 2nd and 4th, marked the real birth of these United States. It wasn't smooth, it wasn't easy, but men in Philadelphia took that leap, and that leap still shapes the world more than 2 centuries later. They bet everything on an idea, and somehow, against all odds, it stuck. Happy 250th anniversary of this great nation. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other. God bless you, and stay free.